You know how sometimes when you're looking into occult or mystical ideas, it can feel like you're swimming in just a vast ocean of information.
Oh, absolutely. So many paths, so many practices.
Yeah, and it's tough to know where to even begin, right? Let alone figure out what's truly essential.
Definitely.
That's kind of where a book like Israel Regardie's The Middle Pillar comes in. It's often cited as, a cornerstone text.
It is, but some people have found the original maybe a little bit like an outline, like it needs more flesh on the bones to really build something solid.
Right. And that's why today we're diving deep into the expanded edition by the Ciceros. Their aim seems to be providing that thorough and accessible exploration of this really central ritual.
And an interesting point right from the start is the purpose. The book makes it clear, and so should we, that this isn't just about like academically understanding some old ritual.
No, it's positioned very practically.
Exactly. It presents the middle pillar as a tool for you, for self-empowerment,
Hmm.
for creating real, tangible effects in your daily life.
Making sure these practices don't just become head trips.
Or, as the book itself puts it, mere entertainment. It's about impact.
Okay, so let's lay some groundwork. The original Middle Pillar finished Feb 36, published in 38 by Israel Regardie. His story alone is pretty fascinating.
It really is. Born in London, 1907.
Moves to Washington, D.C. as a teenager, 1921. And even early on, he was deep into theosophy, Hindu philosophy, yoga.
Qabalah, too. Taught himself Hebrew fluently, which is impressive.
Very. But the big turning point seems to be 1926, discovering Aleister Crowley's Book 4, Part 1.
Right, that kicked off their correspondence.
And eventually led to Regardie becoming Crowley's secretary over in Paris from 28 to 31.
And there's that slightly infamous story about the visa.
Huh, yeah. Apparently forged his father's signature because he was worried his parents wouldn't approve of him working for someone like Crowley, given his reputation.
It shows a certain determination, I suppose. But it's key to note, the book points out Crowley didn't explicitly teach him magic or yoga.
Oh, interesting. So Regardie was really self-driven.
Seems that way. He pursued his own intense studies. It really highlights his inherent thirst for knowledge and that self-directed learning path he took.
Makes sense. And after he came back to the U.S. in 37, his path took another turn, didn't it? Into psychology and psychotherapy.
Yes, heavily influenced, he said, by his earlier connection to the Golden Dawn and also a pretty extensive Freudian analysis he underwent.
That's a potent mix, magic and psychology.
Definitely. And it directly led to him publishing The Middle Pillar in 38 and then The Art of True Healing.
He even went on to get a degree in psychology from Chiropractic College in 41 and was drawn to Wilhelm Reich's work, too.
You really see this fascinating integration of different fields in his development. He wasn't content to stay in just one box.
And Regardie himself, in the foreword to that original 38 edition, he reflects on how his views evolved, right?
He does. He mentions his later desire to expand more on relaxation techniques and the role of psychological analysis in spiritual growth.
And he really believed psychotherapy was almost a prerequisite for serious magical study.
Yes, he felt strongly about that. Saw it as providing a vital foundation of self-awareness before you dive into these, well, potentially very powerful practices.
Which brings us neatly to the second edition, the one we're focusing on. It significantly expands on the original with Part 2, The Balance Between Mind and Magic, by Chic and Tabatha Cicero.
And it's not just a rehash. They thoughtfully weave in Jungian psychology alongside Qabalah.
Provides practical relaxation exercises.
Compares the Eastern chakra system to the Qabalah, which is quite illuminating. They even introduced the Hebrew term galgalim for the Sephiroth in the middle pillar exercise, maybe to distinguish it in that comparative context.
Could be. Plus, you get expanded versions of the ritual itself, Egyptian, Greek, Gaelic, even shamanic variations.
And a musical key for vibrating the god names, which is a very practical addition. Plus a glossary, always helpful.
It feels like a deliberate effort to bridge different traditions and frameworks, doesn't it?
It does. It reflects a more, maybe, contemporary approach, seeking common principles, making it more accessible. The different cultural variations in the music notation really point to that.
Absolutely. And the introduction to this second edition really sets the stage, talks about the sense of crisis in the modern world.
And positions magic as a potential hothouse for spiritual growth, a way to sort of telescope the time needed to realize your own divinity.
Yeah, and move beyond just a sorrowful existence. It connects the great work to freeing yourself from the cycle of necessity.
And suggests life can be experienced as pure joy. which is a pretty compelling idea.
It really frames the whole practice not as some dusty old thing, but as a potentially transformative tool for navigating now.
Exactly. That idea of accelerating growth and finding joy amidst challenges, that's a powerful reason to explore this.
Okay, so with all that context set, let's really zero in on the middle pillar ritual itself. The book makes it clear how central it is.
It really does. It's described as being rooted in the tree of life, forming this central channel, this pillar of energy and consciousness within you.
The skeletal structure for other ritual work is how they put it.
Yes, and the core of all solar-based ceremonial magic. That really underscores its foundational importance in the Western tradition.
And the goal, again, isn't just knowing about it. It's designed to actually awaken those power centers of the tree within you.
For genuine self-empowerment, to make sure your practices actually, do something in your life.
Prevent them from being just entertainment.
Right. The book says it empowers you to become a vehicle of life, channels of change.
That phrase, vehicle of life, really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? From
No.
passive learning to active engagement with your own energy.
Precisely. A more conscious, intentional participation in, existence.
Okay, so practically speaking, how do you do it? What are the steps?
Well, the very first thing, the absolute foundation, is establishing rhythmic breathing.
Just steady, even breaths, in and out.
Exactly. Presented as the bedrock of the whole practice. And the book connects it to overall well-being, too. It says proper breathing increases energy, vitality.
By helping you absorb the divine force in the air.
It briefly mentions the three phases: abdominal, diaphragmatic, costal for deep breathing.
And even suggests a 4-beat rhythm to help induce calm.
What's significant there is grounding this seemingly esoteric practice in something so basic, so physiological.
Breathing, it connects mind, body, spirit right from the start.
Yeah, proper breathing isn't just prep work. It's consciously drawing in vital energy.
Okay, so after the breathing, you move to formulating the 5 centers, visualizing the Sephiroth on this middle pillar inside you.
Correct. Starting at the top, slightly above the head, is Kether.
Visualized as a sphere of brilliant white light.
And the divine name you vibrate is Ahij, pronounced Ahei, associated with I am.
And Kether is linked to the Yakida, the divine spark of the soul, right?
Exactly. So the ritual begins by connecting you to that absolute core of your being, that fundamental I amness, symbolized by the pure white light.
Okay, then moving down, we hit death, which has a slightly odd placement, throat or back of the neck.
Its position is noted as somewhat ambiguous, yes. It acts as a link. You visualize it as brilliant violet light.
And the divine name used is often Binah's YHVH, Elohim.
Yod He Vav He Elohim, yeah. Death is interesting. It's not technically a sephira.
It's more like a conjunction, a passageway across the abyss.
That's how it's described. A crucial bridge or gateway. The expanded edition even mentions modern Enochian attribution.
Alexarpa, Komananu, Tabatum.
And vibrating them syllable by syllable, just within death, it represents that pointed transition where pure potential starts to condense, maybe.
Takes form. Makes sense. It connects the higher abstract stuff to the more personal aspects below.
A vital link. And its inclusion shows how these systems evolve, incorporating other currents like Enochian magic.
Next down is Tippereth, heart or solar plexus.
Visualized as radiant golden light. Very solar.
And the name is YHVH Eloah Vadath.
Yod He Vav He Eloah Vadath.
Tiphereth connects to the Ruach, the rational self, but also the higher self or lower genius, the Agawites.
Correct. Being central on the tree, associated with the sun and heart, it represents balance, harmony, higher consciousness.
So focusing here aims to integrate intellect and intuition, bring them together.
That's the idea. Bridging the intellectual and spiritual dimensions of yourself through that golden center of balance.
Okay, descending further, Yesod, located at the genitals.
Visualized as luminous violet light, though sometimes described as silver or pale lilac, reflecting the moon.
Winter connection. And the name is Shade El Chai.
Shade El Kai.
Yesod links to the Nefesh, the lower self, primal instincts.
Right, so its placement and lunar association point to its role as the foundation of the instinctual self, the seat of vital energies, receptive, subconscious.
It's like the energetic foundation for the personality, distributing energy from above.
That's a good way to put it.
Receives.
And distributes.
And finally, the base, at the feet, Malkuth.
Visualized with 4 colors: citrine, russet, olive, and black.
Representing the 4 elements of earth.
Exactly. And the name is Adonai Ha-Aretz.
Which means Lord of the Earth. Pretty direct connection.
Very. It represents the physical world, your grounding in material reality built from those four elements.
Okay, so you visualize these 5 centers. Then comes the vibration of the divine names.
Yes, and this is key. It's not just saying the words.
It's intoning them with power, resonance, actually feeling the vibration in the sphere you're visualizing.
Precisely. The expanded edition even adds that musical key to help guide this. You're aiming to create an internal resonance that aligns with the energy of that name.
That's tuning yourself.
Exactly like tuning an instrument, combining focused intention with the sound of your voice to activate the center.
And after vibrating the names in each sphere.
Then you consciously circulate the energy. You visualize drawing down that brilliant white light from Kether at the crown.
Down through each sphere. Death, Tifereth, Yesod.
And grounding it fully in Malkuth, at the feet, anchoring it.
No.
And you circulate that now awakened energy back up the pillar.
Creating a circuit.
But Regardie gives a strong warning here. Don't try to generate more power than you can comfortably handle.
Right. Control is important. Gradual development.
It's crucial. It's not about forcing a huge surge, but mindfully channeling. Grounding it first in Malkuth, in the physical, before letting it flow upwards, really emphasizes that need for stability.
So what's the bigger picture here? What are the main benefits the book talks about from doing this regularly?
Well, a primary one is achieving balance and equilibrium within yourself, harmonizing the personality.
Elevating the mind to higher contemplation.
Yes, finding that middle way between the opposites inside you, fostering inner harmony. It's called the way of the reconciler.
Like internal alchemy, turning conflict into growth.
That's a good analogy. It's also presented as a powerful tool for spiritual development.
How so?
Consistent practice is said to gradually connect the different levels of your consciousness.
So divine creative energies start to permeate your everyday awareness.
That's the idea. Ending feelings of inner sterility or frustration. The book suggests this is the rationale behind concepts like union with God.
But it's gradual, right? Not necessarily a sudden zap.
Exactly. An integration, a growing awareness of deeper realities unfolding over time with consistent effort, informing your daily life.
And then there's the healing aspect, which might surprise some people.
Yes, it's applied to both self-healing, releasing neuromuscular tensions.
And potentially healing others by directing the energy you've cultivated.
Right. Regardie even shares his own experiences using it alongside massage therapy for things like nervous exhaustion, catarrh, even constipation.
Wow. Okay.
And the book outlines a specific middle pillar healing ritual using visualized colored rays like Gebra's red for purging, Tifereth's yellow for healing.
His personal stories add weight to that, suggests a tangible benefit.
It really underscores the holistic nature of these practices, addressing body, mind, and spirit.
The book also briefly mentions combining it with other practices.
Specifically, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, the LBRP, and the Rose Cross Ritual suggest they create a potent synergy together.
So different rituals complementing and amplifying each other, a system.
Exactly. Creating a more balanced, well-rounded approach. Each adds its own benefit.
But finally, and this feels really crucial given Regardie's background, the cautions.
Oh, absolutely vital. He's very strong on this. You must build a solid foundation first.
Physically doing the exercises consistently for months before trying anything more advanced.
Yes. And equally important, mental stability and self-understanding, which he suggests psychotherapy can really help with.
Before you even undertake the middle pillar.
Before you undertake it seriously, yes, to avoid potential negative outcomes.
Like nervous breakdown or even physical illness.
If you short-circuit the energy flow because of powerful unconscious complexes or, dissociations, the energy needs clear channels.
Those warnings really drive home the need for a responsible, grounded approach. Self-awareness is key.
Absolutely. A solid foundation and self-knowledge are essential for navigating these inner landscapes safely and effectively.
Okay, so wrapping this up. The middle pillar ritual, especially as detailed in this expanded Cicero edition, is really about internal alignment, right? Activating energy consciously, using the tree of life as a map.
And presented not just as theory, but as a practical method for inner balance, spiritual growth, even well-being.
But always with that emphasis on a gradual, consistent, grounded approach.
Always. Which leads us to a final thought maybe for our listeners.
Yeah.
Just consider, even if you don't do the formal ritual, how just consciously cultivating an inner pillar, a sense of balance, of awareness, how might that shift how you perceive daily challenges or opportunities for growth?
Thinking about how inner harmony might actually influence your outer experiences, that's interesting.
It's worth reflecting on, that potential connection.
Definitely. And for anyone whose interest has really been sparked by this deep dive,
We'd absolutely encourage delving into the full text of the middle pillar.
explore those related concepts in Qabalah, ceremonial magic.
There's a lot more depth and practical tools waiting there for anyone wanting to explore this path further.